Hey, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support and time. Have a seat, pour yourself a glass. We're heading back to 1974 to discuss Rush's first LP, self-titled Rush, and the song from that record that launched their career, Working Man. I'll discuss the band, the album, the song, and then place the release in context to world events, all that occurred in 1974. It was a memorable year. Again, I'm sitting in front of my vinyl record collection, and I'm biting at the bit to get to it. So let's go. Rush is mainly remembered as consisting of Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and Neil Peart on drums. Their time together spanned 1974 to their 2015 final tour and Neil Peart's retirement and subsequent passing. Now, Rush has sold over 40 million units worldwide, 24 gold LPs, 14 platinum, and 3 multi-platinum albums. They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and are recipients of the Officer of the Order of Canada. Now check the narrative below for Rush's induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's a link there. And you'll understand. Blah, 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 oh, blah. Fantastic. This may surprise you, but I'm an old man. Yes, time catches up to us all. I've been a Rush fan since 1976's All the World's a Stage live album. Just a young teen I was at the time, just a wee little one. I still listen to that record today. I love it, and it's that one over there. I subsequently went back to purchase Rush's previous 4 LPs, 2112, and their initial 3 releases titled Rush, Fly By Night, and Caress of Steel. I did not get them on individual records. I got them in a collective 3-record set called Archives, this album. The albums that include the song Working Man are Rush, the first release, All the World's a Stage live, and Archives. Archives because it includes the first release called Rush. It all started with the album I'm presenting today, their first LP, Rush. I was too young to purchase that LP when it was first released here in Canada, so I'm showing All the World's a Stage and Archives in its place because I did buy, and I do have, those vinyl records. Recently, I looked into trying to purchase the Canadian release of Rush, but it was way too expensive. If you have an original version, it's worth a lot of money. You should check it out. Rush is best known for their prog rock albums. But did you know that with their first LP, Rush was a heavy rock band? They were compared to Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Cream, and The Who. That's a long way from the prog rock they evolved into. One reason for this is that Neil Peart was not yet Rush's drummer. Their drummer and Rush founding member was John Rutsey. John Rutsey was a rock drummer, the right drummer for this LP, the right drummer for Rush at this time in their career, and for the song Working Man. He was a 4-on-the-floor rock drummer. This is the only Rush LP that featured John, as he left the band that he founded after this LP. Check the narrative below for the link to a rare video of Rush with John Rutsey on drums performing Working Man. That live performance is fantastic. Drums, bass, and Alex Lifeson's guitar work on this live performance is outstanding. One of the best song solos ever, as far as I'm concerned. To understand the beginning of Rush on vinyl, including many bands from the early 80s in Canada, it is to understand that they might not have had the opportunity to record an album, gain radio exposure, or secure prominent touring opportunities if it was not for the CRTC and CanCon's requirement. The CRTC, for those who don't know, is the Canadian Radio, Television and Communications Commission, and CanCon is Canadian Content. They came into being in 1968, and in 1971 they mandated a 25% Canadian content on radio, and that increased to 30% in 1973. So radio stations were on the scramble, on the hunt for Canadian content. That set the stage for Rush. Thank you, CanCon. In 1973, Rush, with John Rutsey, recorded and released a 45 single. Side A was a Buddy Holly cover called Not Fade Away. The Rolling Stones did a cover of that as well. And side B was the Lee Rutsey original, You Can't Fight It. Check the narrative below for a link to listen to both side A and side B. And if you're not familiar with what a 45 is, I'll show you. This is a 45, one song per side. I don't have a Rush 45, but I do have Blondie. And Blondie's lead single, side A, is Heart of Glass, and B is 11:59. Both are incredible songs. Before recording their 45, Rush and their two managers at the time, Ray Daniels and Vic Wilson, created their own record company called Moon Records. And once the 45 was ready for release, they printed 500 copies. They were seeking to take advantage of the CanCon requirement. The record companies didn't like it, and apparently Geddy Lee was quoted as saying he was embarrassed. He thought he sounded dinky. Dinky, that's an interesting word to choose, dinky. That 45 went nowhere, but now they had Moon Records. So back in the recording studio they went, as an independent artist, funding their own record on their own label called Moon Records. The result was their first full-length LP, self-titled Rush, with the song Working Man. Really cool. All songs on this LP, lyrics and music, were written by Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. Rush pressed 3,500 copies of this LP, the Canadian pressing, the Red Rush logo pressing. They shipped copies to various record companies and radio stations seeking interest. So at this point, Rush was an independent artist shopping around the first record, not a demo, a finished record. Rush's big break occurred when Bob Roper of A&M Records Canada sent one copy of the album, Rush, to Donna Helper, the music director of WMMS in Cleveland, Ohio. She loved it, and she put Working Man on radio rotation. And more importantly, the listeners loved it. It became a hit in the US, so Donna Helper was a big help to Rush. Maybe that was a poor joke. Listeners were calling WMMS radio, thinking it was a new Led Zeppelin song. And they asked them to play Working Man by Led Zepp. That's a true story. The listeners loved the album, loved the songs, but the critics hated them both. They brought the hate towards Geddy's voice. I love his vocals. To me, it's a sense of Robert Plant with an edge. Now, how can you go wrong with that? That said, some of my high school friends way back in our teens didn't care for his vocals at all. And that's okay, because music is an individual preference. In 1974, Rush had been touring since 1968-70, mostly in Ontario, and now, in 74, the first LP gets picked up by Mercury Records in the US, and they get selected to open for Uriah Heep, supporting their first record. Their drummer and band founder, John Rutsey, was a type 1 diabetic. And back in 1974, it was a challenge to get insulin and regulate injections while on the road. He became a health risk to himself, and his performance apparently suffered. He left Rush just as they were starting to make it. In 2008, John Rutsey passed away from complications due to his diabetes. With John Rutsey's departure, Neil Peart, one of several drummers, auditioned, and Neil ended up joining Rush as the new drummer, as we all know. The rest is Rushtory, if I can borrow the Kiss term Kisstory. As the following year, in 1975, Rush toured with Kiss. Back to the song Working Man. It's a killer rock song. As I mentioned, check out the YouTube video link in the narrative below and watch Rush with John Rutsey on drums performing Working Man. The drums are powerful and in your face. Geddy's bass and vocals drive the song, and Guitar World lists Alex Lifeson's guitar solo on Working Man as one of the best, one of the top 100 song solos ever. And check this out. Working Man was featured on TV episodes of Fargo, My Name is Earl, That 70s Show, Supernatural, and American Dad. The song was also in the 2011 movie Goon and a 2014 Walmart TV commercial. How cool is that? Knowing that Geddy Lee is a major Major League Baseball fan, I'll also mention that Pete Alonso of the New York Mets uses Working Man as his walk-up song. This is recent, and it's 50 years after the song was released. So how cool is that? So, what happened in 1974 when Rush released their first LP, self-titled Rush, that included the song Working Man? Well, let's place the LP, the song, in time and place and context with world events that happened in 1974 when Rush released Rush. Well, first, Richard Nixon, Republican, resigns from the U.S. presidency due to Watergate. His vice president, Gerald Ford, is sworn in as president, and a month later, President Ford issues a full pardon to Richard Nixon. In 1974, there was a military coup in Greece, and the new government sought to unite the island of Cyprus with Greece. Shortly thereafter, the Turkish military forces invaded Cyprus, intending to protect the minority Turkish population. The Turkish forces took over 37% of the island during that military conflict. The United Nations set up a buffer zone between the northern Turkish Cypriots and the southern Greek Cypriots. 10 years later, I was a United Nations peacekeeper, Canadian soldier, and I was on tour on the island of Cyprus. The Rumble in the Jungle! George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali in Zaire, fighting for the undisputed heavyweight boxing championship of the world. It was watched on TV by approximately 1 billion people worldwide. This is the first fight that Muhammad Ali uses his rope-a-dope tactic. What a fight that was. The Swedish pop group ABBA, with their song Waterloo, wins the 1974 Eurovision Song Contest in Brighton, England. This starts the ABBA phenomenon. Interestingly, Olivia Newton-John competed as well in 1974. She came fourth. She had an amazing career as well. In Canada, who does not love Tim Hortons? I'm partial to the Timbits. Tim Hortons is no longer Canadian, as they were purchased by a Brazilian equity company led by U.S. shareholders. That said, in our hearts, Tim Hortons is still Canadian. All this to say that Tim Horton, the NHL hockey player and founder of Tim's, in 1974 dies at the age of 44 in a single vehicle crash. The Rubik's Cube puzzle is invented by Hungarian architecture Professor Erno Rubik. The Rubik's Cube is still going strong today, 50 years and counting. Interestingly, it was initially called the Magic Cube. And although it was invented in 1974, it didn't achieve sales success until 1977. If you're my age, you know Evel Knievel. In 1974, we were all glued to our TV as he attempted to jump the Snake River Canyon in Idaho, US. He was using a rocket-powered cycle called Sky Cycle X-2. The jump failed, and Evel Knievel's parachute deployed prematurely. He survived with minor injuries. And in 1974, Rush releases their first LP, self-titled Rush. To listen to Rush music, check out your favorite streaming platforms. Check the narrative below for the link to watch Rush with John Rutsey on drums performing Working Man. It's fantastic. Check Rush's official website, rush.com. You can purchase vinyl records, books written by band members, t-shirts, and various Rush knickknacks. Really cool stuff. To watch recorded live concert performances or videos, search YouTube, Netflix, or Amazon. Fantastic stuff. I watch them often, love it. To watch Rush's induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, see the link below in the narrative. They're inducted by Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins, by the way. Check the link below to listen to Rush's 45 single, Side A, Buddy Holly cover Not Fade Away, and Side B, a Lee Rusty original, You Can't Fight It. And the first few lines, believe it or not, when I listened, I thought Geddy Lee sounded like a very young Michael Jackson. Don't give me hate. Check it out. And don't forget to purchase their music on vinyl. There's nothing like listening to music on vinyl. Now, I'll play a little of Working Man for you on the way out from their first album, Rush, but through archives. Thanks for stopping by. See you the next time on Needham Hills Vinyl Discussion. I really appreciate your time. All right, here we go. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your time. See you next time on Needham Hills Vinyl Discussion. Bye.